PTSD has stopped becoming merely a mental health disorder and in many ways sort of an organizing principle for how we look at narrative and therefore how we look at culture itself. PTSD was first recognized in 1980, and immediately after it was entered into the DSM-3, the Diagnostical and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. The diagnosis has become so popular, they began to have problems almost with crowd control, and the boundaries of the disorder have continued to blur and expand. And you can see this most clearly in the cinema and films of the 1990s. As the diagnosis had sort of seeped into every corner of the culture, you began to see it used not only as a narrative idea, but actually a narrative strategy itself. So films like Memento, Pulp Fiction, Groundhog Day, there is this disorganized time signature, this repetition compulsion, the Freudian repetition compulsion that you can see in the plots of these films. Today you can see it's very difficult to watch a film and not discover some influence of PTSD in the organization of the film. A number of film critics have written articles about whether or not Batman has PTSD. Katniss Everdeen, the protagonist from The Hunger Games, is repeatedly interpreted through the lens of post-traumatic stress disorder. Sherlock, the new BBC television series, begins with a combat montage from Afghanistan and introducing the character of John Watson, the physician, the compadre to Sherlock Holmes, as suffering from PTSD. So it has jumped the transom from simply being a mental health concept to actually being a narrative principle and a principle of how to write a character. So it would be difficult to imagine how it could penetrate the culture to a greater degree, because it has penetrated all of the major artistic forms that we rely on today to understand our world. If you look, for example, at the flashback, which is considered by many to be the signature symptom of post-traumatic stress disorder, a group of British researchers from King's College went back and looked at the accounts and memoirs of soldiers who served before the age of film, specifically the Boer War and a number of British conflicts but prior to World War I, and did not find evidence of flashbacks in their accounts, which speaks to the role of culture and how culture informs our understanding of the post-traumatic state. And specifically how film has influenced the way we think of ourselves and how we conceive of our experience of consciousness.